Welcome to Crosstalk. We have quite a lot of things that are happening in our country that necessitates us to have a discussion around the state of the nation. If you look at the dailies, you are looking at 61 billion that needs to be set aside for the next general elections. We are also looking at the issues of SHA, where private hospitals have suspended the use of SHA within their health facilities. How do we get ourselves to look into the issues that are affecting the people rather than focusing on the political realignments that is happening currently in our nation? But even without saying much about what is happening in our country, look at our involvement in terms of regional peace efforts. Look at what is happening between Kenya and Sudan at the moment. Look at our involvement in the DRC. Just last week, 70 Christians were beheaded in DRC Congo. These are people that were captured. Nobody is talking about it. We can assume it. Leaders of our regions can be silent about it. But is God really silent about what is happening when people are killed in a church because of power struggles and wrangles? Joining me on this discussion to look at the state of the nation is the national chairperson, NCCK, Reverend Dr. Elias Agola. He's going to dissect some of these things from a Christian perspective. And later on, we are also going to be joined by a policy analyst to look at our regional engagement with countries that neighbors Kenya. So keep it here on Crosstalk, and you can be part of this discussion on our SMS line 20316, and you can also send your WhatsApp on our SMS WhatsApp line 0786 316 316. Reverend, welcome to Crosstalk.
Thank you, John Paul.
If we start by the issue of DRC Congo, where it seems like the mainstream media is not talking about it, and if you get information around it, it's just few bloggers who are raising the concern that 70 Christians were beheaded and killed and buried in a mass grave. Does this concern you from where you sit?
Very, very unfortunate that such a thing can be concealed from the participation, the hearing, and the knowledge of the public. With regards to the issues around our involvement, even as a church, in the regional issues and peace efforts, you will be reminded of the CPA in Sudan, the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. That is before the secession of Sudan and South Sudan. So many things happened, and the people who are the key actors are the church. Yeah, we had the involvement of WCC, the World Council of Churches. We had the involvement of AACC, the Organization of African Churches in Africa, All Africa Conference of Churches. And then we come home to where we have NCCK. And our voices have always been there.
Is the voice of the church currently present in the regional peace efforts that we are currently making in DRC, in Haiti, or in Sudan?
The voice of the church has never been silenced by anybody, and can never be silenced by anybody. You may not hear it because sometimes when we talk, whatever we say is not covered as news. Yet it is something that we need, something that is required, something that should be amplified. Now, when it is not amplified, it is like we have not talked, but we always talk. Even today, we have efforts in DRC, organized by the AACC, organized by the World Council of Churches, and even us, NCCK, we are considering going there because our brothers and sisters are going through some kind of a torture, and we would even say some kind of maiming, and people are dying and so on. We cannot be quiet, because if we are quiet today, tomorrow it will be in another country within the region. It can also be in Kenya. So we have been involved, and sometimes to some extent we echo the involvement of our country in handling the issues around peace.
So you don't look at it as a political blunder that you are making?
We do not want to look at it from the political side, because politicians will always bring a political angle which is blind to the fact that here there are people dying. This is an open secret that Kenya has been a hub for all our neighbors who are suffering. How many Burundians are here in this country? How many Rwandese are here in this country? How many Congolese are here in this country? There are so many. How many Somalians are here in this country? Some have lived here for over 35 years.
But now we are being looked at, we are not a peaceful environment anymore, looking at also what happened to Besigye.
Sometimes, again, that kind of approach that we are seeing even in our own country, where our own people are being abducted, and key political leaders like Besigye can be abducted in our own, in our own country, and at the full glare of the media cameras, is unfortunate. But what we are saying from the side of the church is that whatever is being turned into a political mileage should be looked into from a different way, knowing that when your brother is suffering, that suffering will come to you by extension. So if you don't intervene, you may be in trouble. But we are not saying that calling militias and bringing them into the country and with all the disregard to the calls by the regional bodies like or AU is wrong, because sometimes, again, we need also to hear what is our region saying. But that does not stop us from doing peacekeeping, from doing peacemaking, and from doing peace building.
Okay.
These are different things.
All right.
Peacekeeping for the crisis that is there so that it doesn't escalate. Peacemaking for dialogue so that people solve their problems, and peace building for posterity, for sustainability, for change, and for growth. So when there is such a thing in the country, in the neighborhood, we need to be concerned and we need to be involved at the same time. Okay. So the church cannot keep quiet when, as you have said, 70 Christians are massacred. And why Christians? When we don't talk about these issues, when we don't intervene, when we are not involved, then it means that we do not represent Christ. But again, we call upon those who are able to amplify these voices to not only settle on the issues around politics, but also look at that other thing that is being done, so that there is stability, so that there is an atmosphere of dialogue, and so that these people can handle their issues. Okay. And that is where the church comes in. So the church does not join the bandwagon of the people who want to, to make their political mileage or to achieve something that is political. For us, we are saying, look at this person. If you were in that situation, what would you have done?
Even as we look, Reverend, to the regional peace and cohesion, in our own country, we are now seeing politicians realignment and regroupings for 2027. Yeah,
the way we handle ourselves, from the end of this election, we started immediately. And unfortunately, the people who are supposed to work are not working. Unfortunately, the resources that are supposed to go to the people does not go to the people. Unfortunately, the people who are supposed to be held accountable sometimes want to shield themselves by using some sycophants around them to intimidate the voices of reason. Today, there are these realignments, as you call them. And it's not only you who calls them so. All Kenyans are seeing this. Are they coalitions? Are they new parties? Are they new election outfits? Whatever they are doing, and we also see other people are already rebranding their parties to align themselves to whatever is there, or to use them for the next, as a vehicle for the next election. yes, this happens. It should happen if there is service delivery.
And we'll be speaking about
Yeah.
service delivery, because we've also seen what private health facilities are now saying.
Sure.
And they have withdrawn from using SHA in their facilities. And NCCK, as a bigger chunk of health facilities across this nation,
True.
does this also affect you as a
It
church?
affects us so much. That's what I was heading at, that it should happen if Kenyans are guaranteed their health, their health care. It should happen when these people are realigning themselves. They should also know that SHA is not working. Maybe not because it is a wrong outfit, but it's because of how it has been introduced. Was it introduced to siphon the money that was in NHIF, or was it introduced to perpetuate corruption in the health sector? Was it introduced so that in a hurry, introduced in a hurry and implemented in a hurry, so that Kenyans die? And today, our churches, mission hospitals are not getting these funds.
Is there a plan for the church leadership to meet with relevant authorities?
The plan to meet them is like, it is anticipatory that we are supposed to have met, we are going to meet them. I would want to tell you that the time of the CS Nakumisha,
Yes.
we, the religious institutions, under the auspices of IRCK, the Interreligious Council of Kenya, I was in that delegation. We went and met her and told her, that was before SHA was rolled, and told her that you are supposed to do what is called public participation. And you are supposed to enlighten us first, so that we go on your behalf and tell these people what this SHA is and what it is not. That entered through this year and got
So
out.
nobody is listening to what the
Nobody
church
is
is saying.
listening. And the church has always, if you see the church, especially us from NCCK, when you see us talk in public and condemn some of these things in public, and not only us, even the Catholics. Just the other day, Archbishop Muheria was under fire for talking in public.
Yes.
But I know Bishop Muheria, myself, and other people leading these religious coordinating bodies, we have made our statements in private. We have come to the tent. But now, when you hear us talk outside the tent, it means we had already gotten into the tent and we talked. We
And you
talked
are
in
not
private
listened
and
to,
nobody
so
listened to us.
We are coming back to that as we move to other aspects that also are affecting the nation after this short break. But because you've mentioned Bishop Muheria, I think it will also be just right for our viewers to know, if you have not listened to what Bishop Muheria said. Here is a clip as we take a short break.
There has to be less rhetoric. We have to stop advertising and act. Government seems to be constrained to advertisement of government projects, advertisements of plans. Government is not advertising agency. It is an agency that implements actions. That's what we want to see. So let's learn government that follows rules, systems and bills, not government that has put all its machinery to advertisement. It was called governtisement. We have to move from governtisement to government. Stop advertising what we should do, we will do, we have done, and rather put yourself to get people, resources, experts. And we have great capacity even in our leadership in government that they can deliver. And especially the delivery to the poor, the delivery in the education system, the delivery in the health system, the delivery in the system that really is about the economy and facilitation of our ecology.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. Of course, we are having a discussion about the state of our nation. And looking to these aspects of the state of the nation is the national chairperson at the NCCK, Reverend Dr. Elias Agola. Before the break, we had of course mentioned earlier that we'll be joined by Africa policy expert, Mr. Abel. Oyieyo is already in studio with us. We've already talked more in terms of the regional engagement of Kenya in terms of peace efforts. When you look at our engagement with Sudan, for instance, because that's the latest, if you look at our engagement in trying to bring peace in this region, is it for our own benefit as a nation, or is it a political blunder that the nation is doing as well in engaging with these people?
You know, according to political science theorists, a nation's actions are driven by the national interest. That is what happens, and that is the mindset of realists, the school of realism as applied in international relations. There's no way you can decide to get into a conflict, for instance, in the name of just trying to restore peace. It has to be of value to the nation. But far from it, we're here. This is Kenya. We're surrounded by, countries, and it's for the benefit of this country that our neighbors have peace, whether it's Somalia, Sudan, and we've always done that. So the moment there is peace and stability in DRC, then we also have some kind of relief.
I like the analysis that you are bringing on board. There is now the call for national government to quell the fires and silence the bullets in DRC by the president there.
Yes.
Is that going to help solve the situation?
Now, our president is a very good man. I like very much. He worked very hard to be elected president. Likes shortcuts. And shortcuts in the long term do not help anything. I'd like us to travel down memory lane and remember that during Kabila's time, guys from M23 were incorporated into government. This is information that is out there. And it's been repeated by very senior Rwandese officials who were expelled from Rwanda by Paul Kagame's dictatorship, like Kayumba Nyamwasa, who used to be Kagame's intelligence officer. So these guys from M23 were incorporated into government in a bid to bring them, show them that you're part of government so you don't have to create chaos. The point is this. There's a lot of interest, which the Americans have assisted us in knowing in DRC because of resources. So M23 will never disappear until Paul Kagame is told to actually stop meddling in Congolese affairs. What I know is going on now is the M23 are helping in the formation of a corridor for the stealing of resources from Rwanda. I mean from DRC.
DRC, yeah.
Yes, and until that is stopped, there'll be no peace in Congo. And Felix knows that the government he has formed is actual national government, and he has no problem talking to genuine complainants from M23 for their possible incorporation into government.
Okay.
What he also knows is, because he's a president and he accesses intelligence from so many sources, there's meddling from Rwanda. And he can decide to pick all these guys from M23, give them positions in government, and still there'll be some kind of,
regroupings.
Yes, and a new outfit will be formed again, because DRC is a very big country with a lot of resources. I don't think Felix has a problem with the inclusion of all these guys into government for the realization of long-lasting peace.
It's so unfortunate, and now that is spoken to the gap of an opposition voice to speak to these issues. The church has taken that up, and the church is speaking strongly about it. When you look at the political realignment, we are talking about IEBC now, they are looking for 61 billion, Bishop, in a country where families are struggling to put food on the table. Is it a wise investment?
For us, we are with the suffering Kenyans daily. So, asking for 61 billion, and I listened to that presentation yesterday, where somebody says that we are going to buy other computers. Computers that fail on the same day when we needed them.
Yes.
Computers that can't make sense. Well, buying computers is not bad, but the procurement is already compromised. I would say that without a fear of any contradiction, because normally that's what we see on the last day. So why spend that money? Is it an investment, you have asked? It is not an investment. But the bigger thing, just the other day, we were somewhere analyzing the election reports, from the observers, the AU observers. We put all of them together, the domestic one, the ELOG one, the AU and the EU we had all that, and we were analyzing it together. What did we find out? We found out that in Kenya, elections budget goes up just because of the lack of trust. We do not trust to use government vehicles. We have to hire those vehicles. We do not trust to print ballot papers here because it will be compromised. Kenya's election budget is the second highest budget for elections.
Wow.
Yeah, second highest. I mean, a country that is struggling like Kenya, a country where we cannot manage our healthcare, we cannot manage our education, a country where people can sleep hungry.
Without food, yeah.
Yeah, a country where businesses have gone down, a country where we now attempt to have disparate solutions by opening our borders to people who may come here and do a lot of things because of the personal interests that are being mentioned. I think we do not need to spend 61 billion, in fact it is over 61 billion, to do what? To come up with an election. Yes, we need money, but 61 billion is too high.
It's true.
It's too high.
Where's the place of accountability, Abel?
That has been a problem for the longest time, and time again, some sectors like the church have always called out, not just this government, even in the previous government, for corruption. So, of course, recently there was a report which positioned our president as the second most corrupt in the world. So we have a challenge with the way we handle resources. Now, financing of elections is crucial, and it should be done. Because one of the reasons why we end up in chaos is elections. So if we can raise money and support the electoral infrastructure to make sure they have the capacity to deliver free, fair, and credible elections, it's always good. But then again, now overspending, like we've had when we're struggling, when we cannot feed our kids and, we cannot even raise money to take care of disabled people in hospitals. It's a shame. Then we look at a way in which we can grow our own electoral system to avoid outsourcing. That is why we spend, most of this money in a way that cannot be scrutinized. So we need independent auditors to look at the 61 billion, a thorough explanation of how the money will be used, and then from there, if there is waste, it gets eliminated.
Let me ask you, Bishop, the stalemate at the judiciary as we come to a close. How is that going to look like? Now we are talking about removing the entire bench at the Supreme Court.
When you gag the judiciary and you move towards silencing the judiciary, you are silencing justice. And when you silence justice, you are silencing human dignity, you are silencing the voices of reason. You cannot abduct people just because they are against you. You should not threaten institutions and shake their independence just because you'd want them to speak your language. The judiciary has to remain independent. And you cannot shake the judiciary and shake IEBC and not have it in place. When you don't have judiciary in place, especially the Supreme Court, and you don't have IEBC, what are you telling Kenyans? You are telling Kenyans that there is a grand plan to do something about elections. And if there is anything that has ever taken this country backwards, it is elections. Because after every 5 years, we have to be shaken. Now in this dispensation, it is not after every 5 years. Now it is after the first year. And we are here to say what is right. We'll say it in private, we'll also say it in public. And whenever we say these things, we are not against an individual, we are not against a government, we are against wrong things. When you change them, you will hear another voice. We will say we applaud this and we applaud this. Whatever has gone right, we will always talk about it. Let us be civil in the way we handle the general population of Kenya.
Okay.
And the church is always here to support whatever is right and to condemn whatever is wrong.
Yes.
Don't strain the Kenyan coffers by budgeting 61 billion, mentioning even the commissioners that are not yet there.
Yes, I think we are running out of time, but just your last word as well, in terms of, do you feel like the current government has put politics above the needs of the people?
In William Ruto's mind, if you ask me, it's about re-election, re-election, and re-election, which unfortunately might never happen. Because if the opposition gets to, gang up together, mobilize votes, 2027 will be the easiest election to win for the opposition. Because Kenyans are so fed up. The millions of children you saw on the streets, our children who went and stormed parliament, can't wait for 2027 to go vote, take a selfie as they vote, and sit on polling stations until the votes are counted. So if there's anyone dreaming of stealing votes, not here.
Not here.
Yeah.
Maybe speak a word of peace as we wind, and give us some hope as a nation.
There is hope. All is not lost. And those at the helm of leadership, be it in whichever position or sector, just know that the people you are leading are watching, and they can have a plan B of you, and you are not better than them. It's only that they give you the opportunity to do that. My warning to those in power today, don't underestimate the opposition that is forming. Number two, my warning to the opposition that is forming, don't underestimate the June 2024. Don't underestimate that force. It is a constituency that you know very little about. It is a constituency that can shake this country. It is a constituency that is forming, and people should be careful to think that they don't exist. It means, therefore, that these Gen Zs, Gen Alphas, and the millennials, they are the people to watch.
They are the people to watch. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Abel, for your insights on this program. Reverend, thank you so much. We've been waiting for this time, and it has come. Thank you so much for watching Crosstalk. These are conversations that don't stop here. Of course, as they progress, we bring you other panelists that can discuss them from a Christian perspective and just broaden our engagements as we tackle some of these issues. One thing that has come out very strongly is we need to stand out and speak up. We need to be the voice that will speak truth to power. And even when that voice is shivering, speak it out. Until next time, bye-bye for now.